So the TLT started a couple years ago, and we had a very small group of people from Mason High School and Mason Middle School go and see Dr. Kevin Feldman, and those of us who went, we just fell in love with this whole idea of student engagement and then going into each other's rooms and getting feedback.
And then we're going to do a quick check. But I have 2 detective items for you to take a look at first. 2 detective items.
I just recently got into TLT. There were some teachers that did it for a year or so before I got involved, and I'd heard about it. It sounded really exciting, but I couldn't quite figure out a way to make it work not make it work, but just fit it into what I was doing. But then I heard much more about it, and I just couldn't resist anymore. It just sounded so beneficial that I needed to be a part of it. So I tried a walkthrough, or I volunteered to be a participant in the walkthrough in our January experience, and the feedback I got was so specific. I mean, it wasn't just like teachers coming into your classroom and saying, oh, good job, or you going into someone else's classroom for 5 or 10 minutes and saying, oh, good job. It was specific, actionable feedback, and that was really what's been changing the culture around here, is actionable feedback for the teachers to help our students become more engaged learners.
I think one of the most powerful things I saw was I walked through with a physics teacher's classroom, and he used rap and poetry to talk about the Newton's 3 laws of, and I'm like, why am I not, as an English teacher, using poetry on a daily basis if the physics teacher is? And the kids were really engaged, and so that helped me bring stuff back in.
More teachers are talking about, hey, I tried this engagement strategy, or I did this one and oh, that didn't go well, or I just can't bring myself to try this one. I've heard you talk about it. How do you make that work? Because I hear it's good, but I just can't bring myself to do it. And I think teachers are really starting to think more critically about, how do I make my classroom, Kevin Feldman referred to it as a no-chill zone. So really not taking students out of their comfort zone, but making sure they're in an action zone. And I think the students are starting to realize that when we say everybody, it means you beautiful. So I can no longer be that one person that just doesn't. I mean, if there was one strategy that worked for every student, you and I would not be sitting here in a classroom on a beautiful sunny day talking about education.
Oh, you're so smart.
I think it really does help a large number of students and moves everyone forward.
We did some review with the map of Vietnam and Southeast Asia.
The walkthroughs have been really powerful for our staff because it's so easy to close your door and teach in isolation. We're having more of an open door policy, and that's nice to kind of be able to come in and see at any time, and also to get feedback from the people that you trust and that you respect and that you value their opinion.
I liked that he had the kids help with attendance, showed ownership and leadership, giving them an opportunity, and as soon as he started talking, they settled right down.
That he had the little papers with the numbers on them.
Oh, yep, I wrote that.
And I like how he had the kid get up and point to the map. Movement, as opposed to just sitting there.
I really liked that the kids, I said all those things, and the kids, they already have a study partner, I like that.
Got that too.
And so they have someone to bounce their ideas off of, because it is kind of scary to have to answer on your own.
I like to see it because, you know, my kids are the ones that tend to like sit in the back and pray that you don't see me or call on me, and now that they don't have that option with these teachers who are doing these engagement strategies, and they're always on. They can't, you know, fake their way through this class anymore. And it's kind of angering the students, which means that they're actually learning more.
Sometimes she makes us talk to our partners actually most of the time, so we understand it more. And I don't know, to me that helps me because I'm not good at history.
I like it with the one partner instead of like talking to the whole class about it, because it's like, even if you're talking about it out loud and you know, there's still that thing, well, at least in my head, that it's like, well, what if I'm saying the wrong thing, or what if I'm gonna get this wrong, you know, somebody's gonna say something to me about it.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
If what?
If I get called on. She calls on me, because then I know the right answer.
Every time someone comes in to observe me, I've always gotten 2 or 3 really good ideas of like, oh, I wonder if you did it this way. I'm like, I never thought of that. It's like 2 brains are better than 1 kind of thing. I think our staff is more open to new ideas too, and they're kind of stepping out of some of their comfort zones. Some people are trying things that they've never tried, and they've been in teaching for 20 plus years, and you know, they're kind of a little afraid to try it, but it gives them a safe place and some feedback, and so that's been really powerful for our staff. We have an initiative where we have little color-coded cards, and different cards on our window mean come on in anytime. It's anytime, just pop in. You know, give me an hour's notice, or one is I need a day to a week to kind of plan for you to come in. So that's been nice, and so the TLTs kind of really work with that, and we're hoping to kind of use that as a springboard next year too, that like if you're a blue, that means come in anytime, let's go, let's find a partner on your prep and let's go spend 20 minutes in someone's class and watch and learn from them.
I feel like I'm making progress in getting students involved, but the meat and potatoes of the meaningful involvement for me definitely is where my next step is. So I'm getting students to tell me how they're feeling about this. I'm getting students to check their work and say, quick, how'd you do? It's not an assessment that is a formal assessment for me, it's just a quick gauge of where my students think they are, and that gives them a little bit more control over, hey, here's how I'm feeling about what I'm doing. I'm in charge of measuring my own understanding, kind of having them take some responsibility in their learning.
Our next job is to continue working on your detective skills for the quadratic formula. As you're working through the paper we started yesterday, I want you to be your own detective. If the answers don't match up, you be your own detective. If you can't find your mistake, I'll be glad to come over and be a detective with you as well. I have had much more experience looking at these crime scenes.
And I just use that as an informative assessment. But my next step is, I think, to get students engaged in more meaningful mathematics, all of them.
These TLTs are going to become more part of our culture and happen on a regular basis. Our student engagement committee, they've already kind of put in place for next year some plans where we're going to have a calendar where you can sign up and say, you know, I'm doing something cool. I'd love someone to come see me this day, this hour. So you can kind of get a whole month view of like where walkthroughs are happening or could happen. We're just going to keep trying to push people to take advantage of them. But I think the momentum, more and more teachers are trying it, and more teachers are being observed and giving feedback, and they're finding that's beneficial, and so through word of mouth, that's growing. So I think in the future, we're going to see more of these, and kids are going to see more teachers coming in and just hanging out and leaving and popping in and out, and I think that will be really powerful.